Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Unity of Salem. So glad to see all those hugs and getting together and catching up. So glad that June is here with me. We're gonna lead us in some songs. I invite you to stand as you're able. Let's sing about the Spirit being here present in this place. You to go within. From within I let my heart begin to see eternity. From within I let my heart begin to see eternity. Turn within, and now I can begin to see the face of God. Turn within, and now I can begin to see the face of God. The face of God is all I am, and the face of God is all I see. Face of God is all I am, and the face of God is all I see. let my heart begin to see eternity turn within, and now I can begin to see the face of God turn within, and now I can begin to see the face of God. Face of God is all I am, and face of God is all I see. Face of God is all I am, and face of God is all I see. Ever present all around me, it's within me, it's within. Ever present all around me, it's within me, it's within. Ever present all around me, it's within me, it's within. From within, I let my heart begin to see eternity.
Good morning. So good to see all your shining faces today. Thank you for coming. I'm Linda Catterall. I am not your minister, but I will have the pleasure and the privilege of speaking with you in a few minutes. And let's begin in prayer. Sweet Spirit, thank you for the gift of this day, this sacred time to greet our friends, old and new, to appreciate the beauty and the opportunity all around us, and to share the joy and compassion within with everyone we meet. In the light, as the light, we give thanks. Amen. And I see a lot of familiar faces. I don't know if there are new faces here, but if you are new today, you can raise your hand. But we're all old timers, so welcome. If you are online watching for the first time, thanks for joining us. And feel free to contact our office if you would like some more information about Unity.
And as Joan comes forward with our Christ light, I invite you to join and sing, I see the Christ light, as we see the light among us. I see the Christ light living in you. I see the Spirit flowing through. I see the love in all that you do. Oh, I see the light shining through. Yes, I see the Christ light living in you. I see the Spirit flowing through. I see the love in all that you do. Oh, I see the light shining through. Oh, I see the Christ light in you.
Good morning. I'm Joan Riley, and I'm a substitute Sunday assistant. I have some announcements. We are gathering this fall for the choir. If you're interested in the choir,
Come
I
talk
guess
to me.
Tuesday evenings at 6:30. It's no, how do you say that? I should read what's written here.
No audition.
All voices are welcome, and if you have questions, ask Angela. Then please join us for hospitality. Coffee and tea are available before service. Too late. And after service, we have treats available in the kitchen area.
to be the voice and to be the heart through which heaven is made known on earth, to be the voice and to be the heart through which heaven is made known on earth. I am that I am has sent me to this now moment. Here I am. I am that I am has sent me to this now moment. Here I am to be the voice, to be the voice, and to be the heart, and to be the heart through which heaven is made known on earth. To be the voice, to be the voice, and to be the heart, and to be the heart through which heaven is made known on earth. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, as God created me, in the glory of God I am. In the light, as God created me, in the glory of God I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory I am. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory.
We now join together in affirming the Unity of Salem mission statement. Unity of Salem nurtures spiritual growth in inclusive, loving community. And our vision statement, centered in spirit, we create a world of unlimited peace, love, and joy. Our core values, inclusiveness, spirit-led, compassion, love, joy, and integrity. And our affirmation, we are lavishly, abundantly, opulently sourced by God. And our word of today is divine order. And our affirmation is, declaring divine order restores my faith. Let's say it together. Declaring divine order restores my faith. Sometimes life feels like a jumble of challenges overlapping and competing for my attention. At these times, my human efforts seem no match for all that I face. I may not even know where to start. I begin by declaring divine order to remind myself that wherever I am, God is. I do this not to make something happen, but rather to recognize the perfection of underlying all things. Even when order feels beyond me, a distant force moving stars and the planets, it also supports my life. Looking back, I recall times of confusion and despair, maybe even thinking my situation seems hopeless, yet is always resolved, often in surprising ways. I remember those past experiences as I gratefully affirm divine order now. From Ecclesiastes 3:1, for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven.
What if it was here? What if it was now? What if it was already done? What if it was here? What if it was now? What if it was already done? What if it was here? What if it was now? It's already done. It's already done. It's already done in the heart that feels it. Already done in the mind that knows. Already done in the soul that holds it so close, like it won't let go. It's already done. It's already done. It's already done in the heart of heaven. Already done as we walk on earth. Already done in the place where we can remember, yeah, just what we're worth. Oh, it's already done. It's already done. Feel what you want to see, what you really want to see. Feel how it wants to be, how it really wants to be, how it really wants to be. And it's already done. It's already done. It's already done. It's already done. What if it was here? What if it was now? What if it was already done? What if it was here? What if it was now? What if it was already done? What if it was here? What if it was now? It's already done.
Thank you, Angela and June, for everything you do. Especially that song is so powerful and just beautifully shared. Thank you. And here I am, suddenly 6 feet tall. I love it. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to take part in our ongoing series of how unity changed my life. Now, of course, we all have our story about how we got here and why we keep coming back. And we've had the pleasure over the last several months of hearing that story from several other congregation members. Now, time for me. I'm no stranger to the Unity of Salem platform. Over the last 9.5 years or so, I've been up here many times. I've been part of many Readers Theater presentations. I've been a Sunday assistant, reader of the Daily Word when that was a separate task. And several years ago, along with Joanne Icovino and Ed Lazara, we co-presented the entire message on Father's Day. It was our individual takes on fatherhood, and that was really special. Gosh, I even got married right there about 3 years ago, so I've been here before, but never quite in this capacity. You all are here, and that's wonderful, but up here I'm kind of alone in a way. I'm going to be speaking from my heart in my own words for 25 minutes, so new experience for all of us, but we will persevere, we will get through this, or we will accomplish this together. And this is how we grow, right? We're good, we're all good. Now, to begin my story toward unity, it's a long one. We have to go back several years, actually several decades, I'm afraid. I grew up in Southern California without any organized religion. It was available in the area, but it just was not in our home, which was fine. My mom was born in France, and she lived there until she was in her late 20s, and she grew up very Catholic. My dad grew up in Canada, and he grew up exceptionally poor. His father was killed in World War I in France when my dad was about 2, and that left his widow and 5 children, I think under the age of 10. So survival was central to their experience, and I don't really know if organized religion played a role in that. Certainly no stories and no practices came forward into our home. So that meant that in our house, the traditional holidays were secular. Easter was the Easter bunny and baskets, little plastic eggs, and actually the plastic, no, not the plastic ones, the chocolate ones covered with foil. Those are the ones that you eat. And lots of pastels. And for Christmas, of course, Santa and the reindeer and snowman and holly. And my personal favorite is colored lights everywhere. And I had no complaints about that. I was really a very happy child. Then, when I was about 6 or 7, our neighbors offered to take my sister and me to their church. My parents accepted the offer, and so off we went. My sister is 4 years older than I am, so the first thing that happened when we got to the church is that we were separated into age groups to go to our respective Sunday school classrooms. And I don't know if at that age I was already an introvert or if I would have even known what that was, but my hunch is that those seeds are sown pretty early. So that initial separation in a new place where I knew no one at age 6 probably set the anxiety ball rolling for me for the day. We went to our classroom, and there were about 10 or 12 other children in the room, my classroom, and we all sat in a circle around the teacher who was telling Bible stories and talking about Bible characters and asking questions about that. Now, back in the other world, in regular school, even at that young age, I was a bright kid in class. I did homework, I paid attention, I didn't goof off, and I generally knew the answers. In Sunday school, not a clue. All the other kids were excitedly raising their hand and giving the answers, the right answers. And again, I was clueless, so I just kind of retreated into my shell, didn't say a word, and just felt really alone and stupid, which was not something I was accustomed to or happy about. So after about a half an hour or so of that, we got to go to the big room for the sermon. And from my little kid perspective, what I remember is that the minister seemed to be speaking from behind this giant monolith way up high, and he was shouting. I have no idea what he was saying out there. I still don't recall at all, and maybe it was too traumatic, but nothing was coming in, and the lasting impression was that he was just loud and angry and scary. And behind him was a giant pipe organ all across the back wall. And pipe organ music can be lovely in the right circumstance, right mindset. But on that day, it was just loud and scary, just like the minister. And all I wanted to do was get out of there and go home. We eventually did get home and never went back. We're going to fast forward now about 15 years. I'm living on my own, working, and one year I just felt compelled to go to a church on Good Friday. I do not know why, because in the intervening 15 years or so, I hadn't gone to church. No training, no desire to explore that, but I think I just maybe wanted to go to a quiet place and reflect, and church seemed like a logical place to do that. So I selected a large Protestant church in the area. I wanted a large church, did not want to be in a small one because I didn't want to stick out. Got the afternoon off, drove to the church, got out of the car, crossed the parking lot, up the stairs, tried the door. It was locked. I was flabbergasted. In my mind, who would lock a church on Good Friday? So I tried it again just to make sure I wasn't doing it wrong, but it was still locked. And then this wave of uncertainty and embarrassment started to just roll over me. And I thought, okay, I'm not supposed to be here. That's why the door's locked. So I turned to leave, and just at that moment, someone opened the door. I imagine he heard me fiddling with the door because I did not knock. I did not ask to come in. But I think he was a maintenance worker, and he was very nice, and he asked me what I wanted. I had no idea, having never really, been in a church other than when I was 6. But I came up with, pray? Because I thought, well, that seems like a logical request. And at first he hesitated a little bit, but he said, okay, come on in. So that was very nice. I walked into that big room, and it was large. Now, from the adult perspective, it was large. Lots of aisles, many rows, really tall ceilings, and a big pipe organ. And somebody was sitting at the pipe organ, and they were making noise with the pipe organ. It didn't sound like a song to me. Maybe they were fixing it or tuning it. I don't really know how that works, but it didn't sound like music was coming from that. Just sudden notes blowing out every once in a while, unexpectedly and loud. But I was okay. I found my seat. And that was really easy because in this large church, aside from myself and the maintenance worker and the person at the pipe organ, there were only 2 other people, 2 ladies who were sitting a few rows away. And I centered myself as best I could between the pipe organ blowing and the ladies' conversation, which they were being very polite. They spoke in very hushed tones. But in a big room with just a little conversation going, it carries. It's very hard to ignore. But still, I thought, okay, I've come this far. I might as well continue. So I continued to try and center, focus, pray, whatever it was I was there for. But by this time, with the pipe organ and the ladies, and by this time, the maintenance worker, bless his heart, had the vacuum going. And it became ridiculous. I thought, okay, I really am not supposed to be here. So got up and went home. And for me, that was strike 2 as far as churches went. And I had no intention to go back a 3rd time. It's fine for other people, but I thought, just not for me. Now, a few years farther on, I was in my mid to late 20s at this point. And sadly, my father passed away. And along with what goes along with that, the sadness and the questioning, I came to realize that in times like that, maybe there would be a reason to belong to some kind of a church or spiritual community for support, companionship, maybe not actual answers, but maybe just a different way to look at things. Of course, I did nothing about that because I was still sworn off churches. But at least the concept now was a little less scary and negative. Now, what I did do was to, create my own explanation, my own narrative structure for why certain things happen and maybe what you do when they do. And I came to a very simple conclusion about my dad. And I thought, well, he was basically a very good person. So now he's in a good place. Simple. Made sense. Because if that was not true, nothing else here made sense at all. And I decided that the best way that I could honor and remember him and help myself at the same time was to try and model his best qualities in my behavior and in my life. And that still guides me to this day. Work in progress, but it guides me. And so now we're going to leap forward again, a few decades or so. We're going to jump over a big part of my life, but I'll go back briefly in a little bit and touch on that as necessary. We're about 30 years now from the Good Friday incident. And some things have changed. For one, I'm no longer in Southern California, I'm now in Oregon. But one thing that hasn't changed is that I still don't go to church, other than the occasional wedding or memorial service. But, those don't count. I was not going to church. And I was doing fine in my own belief system, as I had just proven to myself by getting through my father's passing, getting myself back on track. So one day, I happened to meet the gentleman in the sound booth. And fairly early on, he mentions he attends a church. And I'm invited. So I think graciously, I said, "Oh, thank you, but I'm good. I'm going to pass on that." And he was okay with that. Another week or two go by, and he mentions that he sings in a choir, a church choir. And they're going to be singing on such and such date, and I'm invited. Well, I did not for a moment think that this was some nefarious plan to drag me into his church, so I was not upset, but I did have a dilemma. Finally, I said, "Okay, I will come see you sing, thank you, but that does not mean I'm going to start going to church with you." And he was fine with that as well. So the big day comes. And because he was the sound guy even back then, he had to get to church about an hour and a half before service started. And I said, "Well, that's fine. I'll bring a book. I'll sit in the car and I'll read out there and then come back in when it's time for service to start." It was January. But it was not snowing. It was not sub-freezing that I remember. And I like cold weather. So it was the perfect plan for me. I was good with that. He graciously suggested maybe an option. He said, alternately, I might prefer going into the comfort and the warmth of what was our bookstore, which is now our soon-to-be office, yay. And he said that there was a small discussion group that met there before church, and that they would be happy to welcome a new member, and that group is called Pathfinders. And it was a logical, very courteous suggestion, but it was a little threatening to me because by now, after many years, I had become a full-fledged, devout, practicing introvert. But still, I went into the bookstore. And it was okay. Very pleasant room, peaceful, quiet. The people were very nice. We did sit in a circle, but there was no teacher there asking for correct answers. There was just conversation about life and things, and everybody could partake in that. And there were no wrong answers. Everybody had a chance to share. It was non-threatening. It was safe. Then, after the Pathfinders meeting was over, it was time to come into the sanctuary here. And again, this is not a threatening room at all, even for a first-timer, I think. And the person at the door, I don't remember who that was, but they were very nice, handed me my bulletin. I don't know if they hugged me. I tend to be a little private and guarded in new situations with new people, but if someone had hugged me, I would have been fine. I would have been able to accept the gesture in the spirit it was given. And I found a seat, I think right about where Clay is. That's a good chair, yay. And I don't know if I spoke to anybody, but knowing me, I would not have initiated that. But thankfully, the music started right away, and it was lovely. And I was really happy to see that there's no pipe organ here. And then the minister started to speak, and I don't remember that topic, but everything I heard made sense, just plain logical sense, common sense. And it helped that the words were spoken, not shouted. So overall, that day went just fine. And the music, the choir sounded really good too. And I don't know that I started coming every week right away. Probably not, probably here and there for a while. There were a lot of reasons for that. Naturally, there was that long-standing aversion to being in church. But also, on top of that, over the previous X number of years that we just leapfrogged over, I had become very independent and protective and self-reliant out of necessity. I didn't want to lean on anyone or anything, and I was not about to jump into anything new without an awful lot of thinking. So I took it slowly. Came back a few more times and paid a lot of attention to what was said, and it was dawning on me that pretty much everything I heard not only continued to make sense, but it was starting to mirror some concepts and practices and beliefs that I had developed for myself during the year immediately prior in order to get myself through that year. So we're going to go back to that year briefly now. That's 2014, if you're keeping score. And we're going to start to tie everything together here. I'll spare you a lot of the details because they really aren't necessary, and some of them are not very pleasant. Let's just say that for a period of about 20 years, I made some life choices that, well, seemed good at the time, but ultimately turned out to be ill-advised. I did eventually pull myself out. And without being overly dramatic, I really did save my life in that process. But as a result, I lost basically everything I had. No car, no job, no money to speak of, very tenuous housing situation. And as far as I knew at that time, an almost non-existent support system, except for a few people who were there when I reached out. But basically for many years, I had pushed people away, kept them at arm's length without really realizing I was doing that. What I did have was my cat and myself. And the cat had been there for many years. I had to re-find myself. And in that process, I discovered a sense of clarity and freedom and resilience and determination that I never knew I had, including a lot of thinking about how the universe works in regard to humans. And before I had the courage to pull myself out, I had been experiencing years of progressive anguish and pain, fear and isolation, and what I probably would have called bad luck. I felt pretty bottomed out. But almost immediately, this still amazes me, but almost immediately after I changed my life, things started to happen in a good way, inside and out. I started to notice and appreciate little things. I remember seeing daffodils being the first sign of spring, blooming, blew me away. I'd probably seen it all my life, but right then it was life-affirming and amazing. And I also saw external things were happening in my favor too. Again, almost right away. I'd been, 5 years of having no success in trying to get myself back to a place where I had a secure job and a living wage. But almost immediately, opportunities just started to pop up. And I grabbed one, and I'm still mostly happily there. It's a good place. So that entire year was one of rebirth and renewal and rebuilding, to the point where I felt pretty darn together and complete, which is something, again, never thought that was possible. But I knew that it was really important to have that in place before starting out on any new ventures. And along the way, much as I had done when my father passed away, I continue to work on that narrative as to how things happen, how the universe works, and how we can work with it to survive and even flourish. And those survival techniques I developed for myself and lived were in large part what I heard coming from here when I started to come to Unity of Salem in 2015. Many of those principles were already inside of me. They were part of me, so it rang true. It's hard to pull out the specific ones because they tend to weave themselves together, but they probably involve manifestation and abundance, divine order, compassion, and the universe as your friend, not your enemy. It was becoming a seamless fit, and it continues to be today. Okay, let's bring this all together and get back to the subject of the message. How did Unity change my life? Did it fix me? Did it save me? No. We all know that's pretty much an inside job. You may have help along the way, but no thing and no one is ever going to change you or fix you or save you unless you have already gotten that process pretty well down the path. And so the question remains, what has Unity done for me? Well, quite a lot, actually, in many subtle and quiet ways. It provides validation and reinforcement of the beliefs that I had already come to on my own. I know I'm hearing the truth because I've lived it. That doesn't mean that I know everything, or that I was the first person in the history of the universe to come up with these concepts, or that I don't learn something new every day. But Unity continues to provide so many examples and tools for me to continue to enhance my life, as well as a lovely community of individuals who are unique, but like-minded in some certain important ways, who have become family and friends. Unity also presents so many opportunities to grow personally. I'm not really a joiner by nature. I tend to be a lone wolf most of the time. But I've come out of the cave or the den a few times over the years, and I've been a part of several committees here, service team, Readers Theater, where I get to live my childhood dream of acting on stage. And I hear there are even opportunities to give an entire talk in front of the congregation. What could be better than that? And all of these are gifts that I would not have received had I not taken a chance, trusted divine order, and grabbed at opportunities. And those opportunities were here all the time. All I had to do was see them and take a leap. Like our song earlier, what if it was here? What if it was now? It is, and it is. And not just in church, it's everywhere. And through Unity, I have come to believe that and practice it. Unity is centered on empowering people and building community. It's written on our walls. I know that to be true. And that's how Unity continues to help me change my life for the better. And I'd like to bring us into meditation now. I'd like to invite Angela up to join me. We're going to do something a little different today. About 3 years ago, our friend Ed Lazara and I had the pleasure of reciting the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic for the congregation. Aramaic, of course, an ancient language that most scholars believe was the language that was spoken by Jesus. And it's a little tricky to learn that pronunciation, and there are many variations and versions out there, so this is still a work in progress. But when we did it the first time, it just felt very, very special to be speaking in that ancient language, even for a very brief time. And interestingly enough, just yesterday I was reading an article on the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, and I came across a quote that really closely describes the feeling I had when I was speaking those words. And it's from a Dr. Neil Douglas Klotz, who's a spiritual and religious scholar. And this is what he said. You breathe with. You say the words of the teacher or the prophet in their language. And you come into rhythm with the words as a living experience. Precisely. Now, Ed was intending to join me today to recite the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, but unfortunately, he's had a family situation. He cannot be here today. So we will hold him in our hearts, and I will share the reading for both of us. Avun de Boash Mayo, Nethkadesh Moch, Tete Melkutah, Nechwe Sebianach, Akana de Boash Mayo, Afbarach, Havlan Lakma, Dasun Kanan, Yalmana, Washboklan, Hayobain, Waktahain, Aikana, Dahanon, Shwahanal, Hayavein, Wela Taklan, Linisiuna, Aila Paslan, Min Bisha, Metol de la He, Malkuta, Wahela, Watesh Bokta, La Ahalam Amin. Amen. And as your thoughts start to go back to the room, try to hold on to whatever peace and joy you've just experienced, and go out and share it with the world. Be the light and the love you are. And so it is. Amen. And now we have time to share of our tithes and offerings. Would the ushers please come forward? And please join me in the offering affirmation. Divine love flowing in, through, and as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Our Father, breath of heaven, our Mother dear, sacred essence,
Beautiful, thank you. And as John brings forward the offerings. Oh, okay. We bless these gifts and thank all those who give, knowing that everything we do at Unity of Salem for each other and for the greater community is made possible through all types of generosity of spirit and treasure represented right here. We gratefully accept the abundance. Amen. And as the prayer box comes forward from Alice, thank you. We take a moment to send thoughts of love and peace and wholeness to those whose names are in the box, and use the power of our imagination to add those we might be holding in our hearts. We enfold each of these individuals with love and light, and in the words of Reverend Victoria, we think of people all around the world. We know prayer is the thread that leads to healing. Amen. And now, I'd like to ask you to stand if you're able. And feel free to hold hands if you are so moved for our closing song.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They're worth much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Beautiful, thank you. And finally, we have our prayer for protection and prayer of transformation. You can say any or all parts of this with me. Let's go. The light of God surrounds us. The light of God is in me. The love of God enfolds us. The love of God moves through me. The power of God protects us. The power of God transforms me. The presence of God watches over us. The presence of God is who I am. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Wherever and all is well. Thank you, God. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Thank you. Namaste.